Sometimes someone hurts you with the smallest sentence. Not a huge argument, not an obvious insult, just one careless comment, one colder than usual look, one moment where they act like your feelings do not matter. And right there, you go quiet. You still hear them. You still understand what is happening. You may even have 100 things you want to say, but none of them leave your mouth. Other people may think you are being dramatic. They may think you are cold. They may think you are ignoring them on purpose or trying to make them guess what they did wrong. But the truth is, silence does not always come from personality. Sometimes it comes from safety. It is not that you have nothing to say. It may be that your body is trying to protect you from being hurt one more time. But before you assume a quiet person is doing it on purpose, look at what is happening inside their body. When people get hurt, they do not all react the same way. Some explain too much, some cry, some get angry, and some freeze. This is often called the freeze response. In simple terms, it means your brain is choosing protection over communication. You are still there. You still hear every word. You still see their face. You still know you should probably say something. But inside, it is like a gate has closed. The answer exists in your mind, but it cannot make it out of your mouth. Your throat tightens. Your chest feels heavy. Your face may look calm, almost too calm, while everything inside you is overloaded. And because you do not react on the outside, people assume you do not care. But sometimes you care so much that your system shuts down. That silence is not emptiness. It is your body saying, I do not feel safe enough to open right now. If you have ever wondered why you go silent in front of them, but then think about it all night when you get home, this is why. Your body goes quiet first. Then your mind starts speaking for everything you could not say. You replay the sentence. You replay the look. You replay the moment where you should have said, that hurt me. But then another voice shows up. Is that too sensitive? Will they think I am being difficult? What if saying it makes everything worse? And slowly you start editing your own pain before anyone else even gets to hear it. You imagine the conversation 10 different ways. In one version, you stay calm. In another, you cry. In another, they understand. And in the worst one, they leave. That is what makes this kind of silence so exhausting. On the outside, you are saying nothing. But inside, you are living through an entire conversation that never happened. You are not out of words. You are trying to find one sentence that feels safe enough to survive. And this reaction rarely begins in the present moment. Most of the time, it was learned a long time ago. Maybe you spoke up once and someone laughed. Maybe you tried to explain and they told you that you were overreacting. Maybe you cried and instead of coming closer, they walked away. Or they stayed, but somehow made you feel wrong for being hurt in the first place. After that happens enough times, the mind learns a quiet lesson. Speaking does not always make you feel understood. Sometimes it makes you feel even more alone, so you learn to swallow it. You learn to handle it by yourself. You learn to wait until the feeling passes before anyone even knows it was there. Not because you want to be hard to reach, but because at some point, silence became the least painful way to survive inside a relationship. You were not born quiet when you were hurt. You may have learned it from the moments when your words had nowhere safe to land. And this is where it gets complicated, because silence can protect you. It can stop you from saying something you might regret. It can give your emotions time to settle. It can keep one painful conversation from becoming an even deeper wound. But silence has a cost. When you pull inward, the other person cannot see what is happening inside you. They only see you disappear. They do not hear, I am hurt. They only hear the silence. And in that empty space, both people start writing their own story. You think, if they really cared, they would notice. They think, if they are this quiet, maybe they do not need me anymore. And suddenly 2 people can be standing right next to each other, but still be separated by everything neither of them knows how to say. That is the paradox of silence. It may protect you from getting hurt more in the moment, but if it becomes your only response, it can make it harder for people to know how to love you well. Silence can be a shelter, but if you live inside it too long, it starts to become a wall. This does not mean you are trying to manipulate them. This is not a strategy. This is not a game. It is an unconscious reach for care that even you may not fully understand. A very small part of you may be hoping they notice, hoping they ask one more time, hoping they do not leave just because you have not found the words yet, not because you want to control them, but because you do not know how to say, "Please don't leave me alone with this feeling." But here is the problem. Other people do not always know how to read silence. Some people will come closer, but others will step back. Not because they do not care, but because they cannot tell whether the door is closed or whether it is waiting for a gentle knock. And this is the painful part. If you stay silent just to be found, you may accidentally make yourself feel even more abandoned. Pain needs to be seen. But sometimes it needs a small signal so someone knows how to come in. So healing does not mean forcing yourself to speak the second you are hurt. You will not always be calm enough to explain. You will not always find the right words, the right tone, or the right moment. And at first, the words may feel awkward, they may shake, they may come out too short, they may not sound like you at all, but they are still better than disappearing completely. You can start with one small sentence. "I'm hurt, but I can't talk about it yet." Or, "Give me 30 minutes, I'll come back and we can talk." Because the point is not just to say you need space. The point is to leave a place to return to. Without that return point, silence can easily turn into distance. You do not have to open your whole heart at once. Just leave a small bridge, something that tells the other person, "I am not gone. I am just trying to come back without breaking myself more." One last thing, if you are someone who goes quiet when you are hurt, it does not mean you are cold. It does not mean you are hard to love. It may mean you have had to protect yourself for so long that your body learned to close before your heart had a chance to speak. But understanding this is only the beginning. If silence once helped you feel safe, then healing may look like learning to create safety with one small sentence. Not the perfect sentence, not the whole story. Just a signal. "I'm hurt. I need a little time, but I will come back." Because you do not have to disappear to be protected anymore. If this felt familiar, tell me in the comments. When you get hurt, do you go quiet, over-explain, or pretend you are fine? Be gentle with yourself. I'll see you in the next video.